So what comes first, the concept or the music? Or is there a pattern that you got? Because this is
not really. I mean,
not the first concept album, right?
No, it's just, something, we decided we wanted to do an ether record because the ether is the fifth element, and we didn't want to do an air record because that was going to be expected of us, I guess. So we were like, man, we'll really throw them for a loop. We'll do an ether record, not the air record. But, so from ether, we kind of gathered that, people believed that the soul was made of ether, and then that's where astral travel came into it. And then we wanted to combine outer space somehow. And just did a bunch of research on it, and started putting things together. And the story just kind of builds throughout time, like the music does.
Because it reads kind of like an acid trip, but you guys are actually like researching and being
I went to Russia.
I
went to Russia for like 2 weeks and visited St. Petersburg and took was on a little boat that went from St. Petersburg to Moscow and visited all the old provincial cities along the way, the old Tsarist route. So, yeah, I mean, and I read that book, The Rasputin File, and found out about the Klisti and that whole sect there, and decided to kind of use them because we had the boy, and we had Getting Lost in Space with astral travel, wormholes, and the whole Stephen Hawking's thing that you can kind of dive into, and it's all kind of loosely in there, but nothing's explored. Like, I mean, we like to leave like that gray area so that the fans can kind of get into the lyrics and make them their own. We don't want to be too literal about anything, but.
So the whole Russian Rasputin angle just kind of brought it all together, gave you guys an ending
point,
almost?
Well, yeah.
Or a catalyst to the end?
Yeah. And so we found that whole thing. And just the aesthetic, the old Tsarist aesthetic of, it's real bestial. It's like, double-headed boars with giant teeth and tusks and things. And Rasputin and his cronies all kind of, bearded monks out in the woods having orgies, and it just all seemed so
out there.
Yeah, pretty wild. So, and stuff that's fascinating to us,
Do you think it's something that people have come to expect from you guys now, that things are going to get weirder and bigger and stranger? Because the album sound-wise seems really more deliberate than the previous albums. Like, you guys seem to have a mission more so than before. You kind of feel like you know where you're going. I don't know if that's just what I'm hearing, or if
I don't know. I mean, deliberate in a sense of, I mean, when we sit down to write a song, and we get all the things together, it takes a long time, It took us 8 months to write the record. And, we just kind of collect riffs along the way, and Brent will be messing around at sound check and come up with something, and, hey, keep that sounded cool. So, and then once we get home, we kind of dump all those riffs out and see what makes sense with each other, and this really just kind of came together. Everything was really fitting together nicely. Had this cool vibe to it we realized it was different, but we all really liked it, so.
Wouldn't almost anything seem smooth compared to the prior year that you guys had with, who was it, somebody got sick on tour, and then Brent had
Bill got sick on tour afterwards, but Brent had
okay.
his accident, and I don't know, we just, Brent's accident was a terrible thing, and we, we worked hard to move past it, and just really, because that was the time when we were writing, so we just went down there every day, and we knew Brent would come there when he was able.
How long was he out for? Like, out cold for?
I don't know. It was a few days.
Yeah.
He was in the hospital in Vegas.
It's just one of those unbelievable stories.
Yeah, it really sucked. I mean, we were hanging out with the Queens guys and just hanging out in Vegas, and we got the phone call. So we were really, really scared for a little bit there, but then we found out he was going to be okay and everything was going to be fine. I was just hoping that he would, bounce back, and he did. He just wrote a whole bunch of music, and it was really exciting, because we would go down there to space and put it all together, and everyone was really digging on it. So
these things make you guys feel like more vulnerable to things that are happening, or kind of bulletproof because you've pretty much survived some
I don't know. I mean,
unbelievable things?
Yeah, I mean, the when Bill got sick and we had to kind of carry on as a three-piece, that was a real test, I thought, for us. I think a lot of bands might have gone home, and just said, hey, we're missing a dude, we don't want to do it. But we did that, and I think when we got home, we were all kind of like, yeah, cool, we did that. We made that. We were able to pull it off. I think if it wasn't happening, it wasn't sounding right on stage, then we wouldn't have done it. We wouldn't have continued to do it. We would have just packed it up. But that was difficult. I don't know. That's life. I mean, life is gonna be up and down, and we always maintain positive attitude, and we just I don't know. You can't. You just do your thing. Carry on.
So even though Crack the Sky obviously has a very long road for you guys ahead, when do you start thinking towards new album or new material? Is it something that's always popping up with you guys, or do you kind of hunker down and go into writing mode?
Well, at some point we hunker down and go into writing mode when the touring is finished for an album cycle. But there's no controlling when riffs are gonna come, So whenever the riff god decides to visit, that he just does.
How do you save them?
Well, usually if they're really good, then they just stick in your head, and that's how you can usually tell.
So you're not putting them on your cell phone, or?
Well, yeah, I have some on my cell phone.
Yeah.
And I've had a dictaphone for years. I've written a few songs, a few Mastodon songs with. But yeah.